Beseech the Mirror from Wilds of Eldraine is finally here, and today we're building our own Yawgmoth's Will with Gaea's Will in Legacy. Let's go see today's deck list. I am staying up late so that way you get Beseech the Mirror content bright and early in the morning. I am Bryant Cook, and today we're building our own Yawgmoth's Will, and we're doing that using the brand new card from Wilds of Eldraine, Beseech the Mirror. For one triple black, so 4 mana value total, you get a sorcery, you search your library for a card, exile it, you may cast that card if its mana value costs 4 or less. If not, put the card to your hand. Well, with this, you can alternatively cast Gaea's Will, a card much like in Modern with Cascade. You can cast off of those sort of effects. You can't play this card normally for 0 mana, but you can using an enabler such as Beseech the Mirror. Legacy, for the first time ever, has Yawgmoth's Will. It is truly broken, and I believe the best shell for this deck is actually the Black Saga Storm deck, and today we're modifying that deck to incorporate Gaea's Will. So we're playing a Black Splash featuring Bayou, Veil of Summer, and then in the sideboard we gain Carpet of Flowers, Abrupt Decay, and Haywire Might. We are not playing Vault of Whispers today, which is a stock card in these decks. I believe that the advantage of green is so powerful we don't need Vault of Whispers. But why is green so good? Well, if you read Beseech the Mirror again, you have to bargain in order to cast that spell for free, which means you have to sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. Well, Urza's Saga is an enchantment. That's pretty cool, but so is Carpet of Flowers, which makes this deck have tons of ways to sacrifice for bargain. I mean, when you look at our artifact count, we have over 20 0-mana artifacts. Like, there's so much fuel in this deck to sacrifice, and I think against the popular blue decks in the format, you really want Carpet of Flowers. And being a black-green deck, Haywire Might out of the sideboard to get with your Urza's Saga goes a long way in beating things like Counterbalance or whatever, Deafening Silence, and having actual green sources in your mana base makes this card even better. So today we're playing a Golgari Black Saga Storm list, whatever you want to call it. I think that this is the best shell for the deck. Tonight is literally my first time ever playing this. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Match 1, Game 1, we're on the draw, and I've opened up a turn 1 win hand. However, our opponent I faced this week when recording a video, and they were on Grixis Delver. Looks like they're not on that tonight. Grief, Exiling Grief. That's not good for us. I believe they're going to take our Lion's Eye Diamond here. And they do. This stops our ability to win on the first turn. And the Reanimate. And they do. Okay, I have been scammed. Our opponent goes to 16 life. They have 3 cards in hand. And we are hoping to draw into another copy of Lion's Eye Diamond. Draw for turn. Beseech the Mirror. That's a good one. I can't use it right now, so we'll pass the turn. Another Swamp. Okay. They cycle a Troll of Khazad-dûm. And now they attack. We'll go to 17. I'm very close to being able to go get Gaea's Will with this Beseech the Mirror and just win the game. Dark Ritual. The Orb. I've never actually faced this card before. I understand that you like scry or something in your end step or upkeep, or it does something to make me lose life. I guess I could read it. So I'm going to pay life so they don't draw a card. Ghost Quarter. Okay, so at the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter on this and scry 2. Then you can have target player lose life and mill cards. I should just continue to read it. And then target player or target opponent, you may have. I'm going to restart. Reading is tough. At the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter on Plantier of Orthac and scry 2. Then target opponent may have you draw a card. If that player doesn't, you mill X cards, where X is the number of influence counters on this, and that player loses cards equal to the mana value of those cards. Got it. Right. Reading is tough, but we got there. Draw. Another Dark Ritual. I believe this wins. Dark Ritual. Well, Infernal Tutor. Go grab a Dark Ritual. Oh, baby. Turn 1 scammed, and we're just coming back strong. Okay, we'll grab another Dark Ritual. That's all 4. Alright, our opponent knows what's up. We got game number 1. I love it. I love it. Okay, they're not even going to make me go through it. So they're on a scam style deck. I think we probably want these surgicals. I mean, they're definitely on Reanimator of some sort. We probably don't need Thoughtseize as much, and on the draw we can probably board out a Veil of Summer. Let's try this. I like some number of Thoughtseize just to check for like surgicals or things like that, but this is what I'll be doing here. I can't read and I still won game number 1. Take that, hater. Opening up Gaia's Will is not what we want to do, and 4 lands. We'll mulligan. This hand is very good. Thank you. They kept 7. Yeah, I'm going to bottom the Chroma. Chromox gives you your best chance to have an explosive turn 1, but we're definitely going to be disrupted here on the first turn. So why am I trying for a turn 1? Wow. Punished. Disgusting. I can't beat that. Okay, we're just going to go to the next game. Cannot beat that. I mean, theoretically, I have Urza's Saga. Like, I could have played out that game a little bit longer, but I'd rather just go to the next. All right, on the play, I think I'd rather have an extra Thoughtseize over another Veil. Maybe on the play, we don't need surgicals as badly. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to revert to my game 1 configuration. I don't need surgicals when I'm on the play. Let's go. Game number 3. This is interesting. It's a really slow hand. I think we can do better. Ay. Our opponent also mulligan. I'm going to go to 5. I am begrudgingly going to keep this. We're going to bottom both of our actual spells here, and we're going to play the long game. And my goal here, by bottoming both the real cards, is that our opponent doesn't have anything to discard. We're just going to try to Urza Saga them this game. Wasteland. Admittedly, wasn't expecting that. I mean, it makes sense. Our opponent's on, like, a mono-black disruption deck, I suppose. Grief pitching Shieldred. Well, I have some bad news for you. Nothing home. Nothing here. I'm not going to use the Bauble. Veil of Summer. A little bit awkward after my Bayou's been destroyed by Wasteland. They play a Swamp. Reanimate on the Grief. Well, this time you got my Veil. They have 3 cards left in their hand. Infernal Tutor. I'm going to hang on to that for now. We'll pass. Thoughtseize. They're going to get my Tutor. They're at 14. I will go to 16 here. We'll draw. They have 2 cards in hand. Lotus Petal. Well, that happens to be very good in this specific spot. Okay, this is the strength of Black Saga Storm right here, being able to create constructs and pivot game plans. Dauthi Voidwalker does not matter here. They'll attack us down to 13. And then on their end step, we will create a construct. Okay. Now for our turn, we'll draw the Mox Opal. Attack the triggers. We can allow that Saga to go up to 2. And then I think I'm actually going to full pivot here. And I'm going to use this Saga. And now I can still create another construct on their end step. Suppose I'll grab a Lotus Petal to do that. It doesn't change the power toughness if I do it now, so we're just going to attack for 5. Our opponent goes to 9. No storm required, and our opponent concedes. We have won match number 1 with Black Saga Storm. Match number 2 coming right up. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, and we are facing Jordan Kareem of the Epic Storm team. I have no idea what Jordan's playing tonight. It's probably Storm. I don't know if it's Beseech the Mirror Storm or not, but this is likely a Storm Mirror. Here we've opened up an explosive hand. but it doesn't do anything. We have to mulligan. Okay, so what does this do? Imprint Veil of Summer, Ball Ritual. We are not a Galvanic Relay deck, so that is not an option here. Plus, I have to bottom a card. I think I'm actually going to go to 5. This hand just doesn't do enough. This is fine. We'll keep bottom the Gaia's Will and the basic swing. Jordan has mulligan to 4. Okay. Here we go. Urza's Saga. Lion's Eye Diamond. I really wish this Bayou was a Thoughtseize. Okay. You have to pass the turn. Here's the Jordan not killing us on 4 card. Jordan's on oops? No. Jordan. Come on. Not like this. Not like this. I guess my Veil of Summers wouldn't have done anything anyway. Jordan's passing the turn here. What? I think Jordan messed up. Maybe Jordan had Beseech the Mirror, but forgot you have to sacrifice the Lotus Petal? Oh, Jordan. Come on. I mean, I couldn't read in the first round, but this is bad. Okay. Play out the Lotus Petal here. We have to somehow win before Jordan can restabilize. 2 cards in Jordan's hand. We can piece together that one of them is a Beseech the Mirror. Brief Exiling Infernal Tutor. We don't have a hand. This doesn't do anything. Okay. Jordan might be playing the deck that Tony is streaming tonight. If you're watching this video, as I'm recording this, Tony Scaponi is streaming a Beseech the Mirror Storm deck to this very YouTube channel. Hit the live tab and you should be able to watch the stream with Beseech the Mirror in it. But make sure you finish this video first, because obviously, if you're here, you might as well enjoy the rest of it. We've made a 4/4 construct token. Lion's Eye Diamond. We might as well make another construct. Grab a Mishra's Bauble. Play a Lion's Eye Diamond at 7 power. This is lethal next turn. And then we can bobble. Jordan is drawing a Lotus Petal. I'm pretty sure that doesn't kill me. We draw Beseech the Mirror. We won't be needing that, though. Okay. Well, we have won game number 1 due to Jordan's mental mistake. But now we have to capitalize on it. Let's bring in these Surgicals. We likely don't want empty in this up. Take that out. And am I crazy for not wanting Urza's Baubles here? I guess empty does allow me to potentially beat an opposing Veil of Summer. I don't think Jordan's playing Veil. I'm going to board it out. And you could board in a Haywire Might, but I don't think that these games are really about the last activation on Saga, so I'm just not going to do that. I'm snapping this hand off. Keep. Having Surgical on the draw, very good. Jordan has kept 7. I do not like that. Draw Mox. Imprints a Cabal Ritual. We have a Lotus Petal. Ornithopter. This is definitely the Tony Scaponi deck. Dark Ritual. Lion's Eye Diamond. 1 card in hand. Infernal Tutor. This is an Echo. We will Surgical Extraction the Lion's Eye Diamond. Get the one in the graveyard. Okay. We're not out of the woods yet. Leyline of Anticipation, so that way Jordan can win on my turn if there is a hypothetical game. This hand's a little slow. I don't love it. The one upside here is that Jordan is playing a deck with Echo of Aeons and Infernal Tutor, and I have removed Lion's Eye Diamond from the game. We have to hope that's good enough. But if there's a Beseech the Queen, we are dead at the moment. There's a Cabal Therapy, Mox Opal, Hume. So this is another Echo. Okay. 1 card in Jordan's hand. They all get shuffled in. And we've opened up a bonkers hand. Pass the turn, Jordan. Pass the turn. Pulling the weak. Like, this would be a win if we get to untap. And Jordan just drew the Tendrils. Okay, we have been turn 1'd. Not a fan. I wonder if we should shave a land on the play for Bauble. Especially versus an Echo deck. Turns on our Opals. Let's try shaving a Swamp for 1 Urza Bauble. This might be crazy, but I'm going to do it. Okay, for all the marbles, we're on the play. Imprint Gaia's Will. It's a win. Imprint Gaia's Will. Ball Ritual. We have 1 mana floating. Cast the Gaia's Will. Replay, replay, replay. Think that this is lethal. Keep. If Jordan Leyline kills me before I can win, I'm going to be so sad. Jordan mulligans to 5. Jordan can kill me in my upkeep on 3 cards, so don't feel safe. Alright, no Leyline. That's good. Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal. Chrome Mox. Imprint this guy as well. And now we will Ball Ritual. And now we will sacrifice these Lotus Petals. Cast Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Sacrifice the Chrome Mox. So now we get the other copy of Gaea as well. We cast the Gaea as well. Storm is 7. Lotus Petal. Lotus Petal. Cast another Lotus Petal. This is a turn 1 deterministic line. Ball Ritual. Now we'll play the Chrome Mox. No imprint. Sacrifice the Lotus Petal, and now we'll cast with Bargain again from the graveyard. This was so easy. And now we just grab the Tendrils of Agony. Cast it targeting Jordan Storm 14 on turn 1. Turn 1 win with Beseech the Mirror. I love it, and we are now 2-0. 3 matches left. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Match number 3. We are on the play, and we are facing Eddie Viscosity, who in their last result was playing Oops All Spells, their previous one, Painter combo. Here we've opened up an amazing hand. We're going to keep this. I believe that this is a turn 2. No, I'm sorry. We can't get to 4 mana on turn 2, so it's likely a turn 3. They've mulliganed to 5. So this could be Oops All Spells, who knows? Oh, they're mulliganing to 4 now. Yeah, they're just really turboing. Our opponent has officially taken a mulligan to 2. I have a feeling they're just going to concede to my turn 1 Thoughtseize, and then we can go to game 2, and I will be boarding in Surgical Extraction. Verdant Catacombs. We'll grab a Bayou. Thoughtseize. And they've conceded. Alright, game 2, and we will board in Thoughtseize. I'm sorry, board in Surgicals. Oh, I forgot. Moto updated today, and I am back to pile view. I prefer card view. It doesn't really matter, though. Alright, so 3 Surgicals in. We can take out the empty. Actually, if they're on Oops, they do have their own copies of Veil of Summer and Leyline, so we might actually want the empty. Or if they're on Leyline, we probably want at least 1 Haywire Mite, but that might be greedy. Take out Baubles. Probably shave a land in these hyper-aggressive combo matchups. That brings us to 62. Maybe just 1 Haywire Mite, and we'll shave a Mishra's Bauble. This hand's very risky. I mean, we don't know that they're playing Oops or not. They've mulliganed. I'm going to mulligan as well. I know that it seems crazy, but if they open up on Leyline of Sanctity, our hand is nothing. I guess I have the Haywire Mite, but I would need them to have a Leyline. I'm going to mulligan. This is so much better. Significantly better. We don't have a payoff, but this hand gets to play Magic. Our opponent has kept 6. We will do the same, bottoming a Chrome Mox. Alright, no turn 1 Leyline. Lotus Petal. They are in fact on Oops. That's an Undercity Informer. They have 2 cards. Now they're passing. Okay. Draw for turn. Thoughtseize. We'll play the Bauble. Let's look at their top card. A Cabal Therapy. I don't love that, because that means that if they have a black source in hand, they can name Surgical. Thoughtseize. Take the turn Timber. Pass the turn. We will draw off Bauble. And it's a Bayou. Alright, Undercity Informer. So the trick here is that a bunch of these builds play Memory's Journey. Hitting the Narcomoebas here doesn't actually do anything. So instead what we're going to do is just remove the Oracle itself. Alright, Surgical Extraction on Thassa's Oracle. We will exile the Oracle, and now we can auto-yield. They do have a Cabal Therapy, so they could therapy themselves for Bridge, and then Dread Return to make 6 zombies, and then in their upkeep, Memory's Journey for 3 cards and hope that I can't do anything in that time. Maybe I should have been more patient. I don't know. I could have waited for them to therapy me. That was probably the line. I probably threw this. So I should have waited for them to cast Cabal Therapy before I respond. Yeah, I threw. If I lose this, it's my own fault. Yeah, I definitely punted. So now we have to beat the Memory's Journey. They're going to Dread Return a Spy. Okay. They milled an Opal, a Surgical, and a land. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I definitely threw this, though. I had the game won and I punted. Dark Ritual's not going to do it. Play Bayou Pass. They're going to Memory's Journey, a Lotus Petal, a Thoughtseize, and an Agadeem's Awakening. They attack for 8. I will go to 8 life. I have 1 draw step here. Let's see if I get punished for my terrible play. In my defense, it is almost midnight, but it's not a real excuse. I should just play better. They drew the Agadeem's Awakening and Cabal Therapy. They sniped my Dark Ritual. I think that's going to do it. Draw for turn. Urza's Saga is not good enough, and I am punished for my terrible play. Alright, well, we still have game 3. We are still... We have the possibility of winning. That's what I'll say here. They did not board in Leyline, which was a little odd. What to do. I think I'm going to just resubmit. Just play better. That's the real answer. I threw that. Game 3 on the play. I guess so. It's not very good. If they open up on Leyline, this hand's actually kind of embarrassing. And they did. Okay, so like I said, our hand is very embarrassing. Play out Bayou Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. So now all they have to do is wait for a discard spell or a Pact of Negation to go off. Or they might just have one and kill me. So you might be wondering why I didn't suspend Gaea's Will on 1. That's something you can do. I am choosing, and this might be silly, to represent Veil of Summer. It might not be worthwhile, but it's when I'm trying to show my opponent what I have. I think representing Veil of Summer probably goes a little bit further than suspending this guy as well, and assuming I'm going to get 4 turns on this plane. They have played a Turn Timber Symbiosis tapped. Okay, draw for turn. The other guy as well. Brutal. Alright, we'll suspend 1. I'm not feeling so good about my odds here. Opponent plays a Chromox. Prince Cabal Therapy. Dark Ritual. Undercity Informer. Yep. And they're using the Informer. 1 Pact of Negation. So there's 1 Pact. No, my bad. There's 2 Pacts in their graveyard, which means that they likely have more. Well, auto yield. They're going to Cabal Therapy targeting me. I'm going to respond. We'll grab a Bayou. Cast Surgical on Thassa's Oracle and we'll pay mana. They had an Elvish Spirit Guide in hand, which means that they can now use the Memory's Journey. And they're going to flashback Journey targeting Lotus Petal, Wild Cantor, Oracle. Okay. They named Dark Ritual. I do not have one. So there is another way I can win this game, although it's not super likely. If I draw another Surgical Extraction, I can exile Lotus Petal. And that would make it so they can't cast the Oracle. But I also have to survive a horde of zombie tokens. They cast Dread Return on Undercity Informer. Okay. They have 10 power. I am not likely going to be able to cast this guy as well. Alright, so I have 2 draw steps here to stay alive. Empty. Not great, but maybe I can draw into something. Like a Dark Ritual would be Storm 3 with Thoughtseize. They play the Lotus Petal, so my Surgical line is now off the table. That's unfortunate. I go to 9. Guy's Will happens. We draw. Marsh Flats, I don't believe does it. Bummer. I go to 8. Actually, it buys me 1 turn. Although there's not a single draw that gets me out of this, I don't believe. Yeah, I would go to 2. Their next card is Oracle or the Wild Cantor. Block. I go to 2 life. Dark Ritual doesn't do it. Infernal Tutor doesn't do it. I don't have an out here. Beseech, I can't cast. Draw for turn. Yeah, that's the match. Target myself with Thoughtseize. And my own poor play has cost me match number 3. One of these days I will learn how to cast Surgical Extraction against Oops, but probably not today. So, what a bummer. And let's just try to win match number 4. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting your own Magic events with features such as easy-to-create event registration for 4-player and one-on-one Swiss-based games. Event management has never been so simple, and it's done on the web, no downloads are required. You can sign up for $5 by visiting eminence.events/subscribe. Let's try to bounce back with match number 4. We're on the draw, and I am going to keep. Not really sure what our opponent's playing, not looking up that tonight. Although I guess I did look up Eddie Viscosities. Okay, well, I looked up one opponent and I lost to them, so that's my lesson learned. I did not look up the first two. And I think I only looked up Eddie Viscosities because in my mind, they were a Reanimator player. And obviously, Bullfish disagreed, but I had them in there in my brain as a Reanimator pilot. Here we see a turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler. I'm going to play out the basic Swamp and then just pass the turn. Another Channeler. Uh-oh. They have 2 cards in their hand. They swing for 1. Gaea's Will. Not the ideal draw, let me tell you. Alright, so we've played a Lotus Petal, Mishra's Bauble, Lion's Eye Diamond, Urza's Saga. Our opponent has 2 cards and they're about to drop to 3. Then Underground Sea. Not Wasteland. Big fan. Okay. We will fall to 17 life. Urza's Saga will now go up to Chapter 2. We'll play another Saga. We'll pass the turn. On our end step, they grab another Volcanic Island. I'm choosing not to use the Bauble because I think that this Bauble has more value at pumping up our construct. I could be wrong, but that's at least what my thought process is at this very moment. They surveil away a Lightning Bolt and a Bauble, so now they will be Delirious. This Ponder was a very good draw for them. And maybe we should pivot game. They shuffled on the Ponder. Let's look at their top card. Gaze. Okay. They have 2 cards in hand that they've been sitting on most of this game. On their end step, it's kind of free here to make a construct, so we'll do that. Now we draw a card off the Bauble. We draw another Bauble. Need mana. There we go. And now we'll tap this for mana. We can just go grab another Lion's Eye Diamond or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Actually, I'll grab a Chrome Mox and print this guy as well. Now this construct, or I'm sorry, the second chapter on Urza's Saga can go up. Let's attempt a Dark Ritual. The ritual resolves. What about a Veil of Summer? Alright, our opponent has no hand. They are deterministically dead here. We have plenty of mana. I'm actually going to Infernal Tutor here for another Bauble. Okay. I probably should have gone to combat before all this, but it's fine. So, from what I'm told, is that here, I'd have a deterministic line. We're going to cast with Bargain, sacrificing this Chrome Mox. And you can chain Beseech the Mirrors. So you don't actually have to get Gaea's Will. You can get another Beseech the Mirror, and then sacrifice Mishra's Bauble, and Beseech again and again and again until you hit Tendrils of Agony. It is its own built-in storm engine once you get to a certain point. We've taken game number 1 from Grixis Delver. Alright, well this is definitely a Carpet of Flowers matchup. We'll bring those in. I think we want to shave on Chrome Mox. We want more stable cards. Take out some Urza's Baubles. That brings us to exactly 60. Maybe we'll cut Cabal Rituals because we're boarding in the carpets and bring in Decays. Yeah, I don't hate this. Let's try this out. Carpet is also very good against Meltdown, and Meltdown is one of their best cards against you. So I do like that aspect as well. Like here, we have a hand that leans really hard into Meltdown, but we might not need to due to the Carpet of Flowers. Alright, take a draw. Where's this Saga? Play the Saga on turn. I honestly don't know. Alright, I mean, it's going to hurt more if they do have a Meltdown. Mishra's Bauble. Try the Lion's Eye Diamond. This would be a very bad Force of Will target for us with the way their hand is constructed. But it resolves. Big fan. Now we'll play the Carpet. Use this Bauble immediately. Try to get around to Orcish Bowmasters. They're drawing a Channeler. We will not use the ability and we can pass the turn. Infernal Tutor. Okay. They fetch. Channeler. Okay. Ouch. I'll take 1 down to 19. Beseech the Mirror is a fine draw. Make 2 green. And we can just make a construct right now. And this will give us the Metalcraft for Opal. So if we need to cast Abrupt Decay on our opponent's turn, we can. End step, they Brainstorm. They surveil a Surgical Extraction. I have to imagine on their upkeep, the Delver Secrets will transform due to the Brainstorm. They reveal a Lightning Bolt. Okay. So the Lightning Bolt will obviously kill my Construct token. And they're going to Bolt to kill the Construct. So if I want to Abrupt Decay, I need to do it now. Let's kill the Channeler. I mean, they don't have Delirium, but Channeler just gives them the most value. Alright, they still have 4 cards. We need to figure out a way through some counter magic here because we haven't drawn any protection yet. Surgical on Abrupt Decay. Okay. You have 3 cards. Can we beat their 3? Veil of Summer. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Yes, let's make black mana. And then we'll tap this for a colorless. Grab a Lion's Eye Diamond. And now we can tap this for green. Play a Mox Opal. Actually, I can Veil of Summer. I'm sorry, I can Infernal Tutor for another Veil of Summer. But then I'm 1 mana short, so that doesn't do anything. Okay, let's just start off on Veil of Summer. I'm actually 1 mana short of both Beseech and Infernal Tutor anyway. I didn't realize that. I thought I could do both this time. They respond with a Brainstorm. Storm is 3. So even if they had Daze Force here, I can still win through that. And our opponent realizes and they concede. Okay, I am 3-1 with 1 match left to go. Let's see if we can finish this with a 4-1. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. The 5th and final round, we're on the draw against the Delver legend Billy Mitchell of the Depths podcast. And we have a pretty good hand versus someone who likes to play Delver-esque decks. Death Shadow, Grixis Delver, those are all within Billy's range. First turn, Scalding Tarn for an Underground Sea. Grief, Exiling Shieldred's Edict. Freedom and Weep. This hand's pretty good against us. Takes the Thoughtseize. That's interesting. Reanimate on Grief. Okay. Well, I guess if you have the Reanimate and then go after Veil of Summer, I don't have any protection. They take Cabal Ritual. Okay, I'm going to fire off these cantrips right now, which might seem a little bit odd, because in discard matchups, you usually want to hold them. Orcish Bowmasters is exactly why I'm doing that. So I revealed the Orcish Bowmasters. They have land Bowmasters. I'm a genius. Played around it perfectly. The downside here, they have a Daze. Wow. Pretty good. The downside is that I'm not exactly close to winning. We need some pretty good draws. Let's see what our colorless Ancestral Recall reveals. Gaia's Will, Saga, Tendrils. Awkward. They play the Delta, and they attack. We go to 17, draw another land. We'll play Urza's Saga and pass. Instead, they fetch down to 14. They play the Orcish Bowmasters. Their 1 card in hand is Daze at the moment. And they target themselves with the Bowmaster. Because they know that if they target me, I can Veil of Summer and cancel the trigger. And we'll pass. I'd rather save this Veil of Summer for later. So they'll attack. We'll go to 12. I need to draw some ritual. That's what I desperately need. And instead, they draw Brainstorm. So they've drawn Daze and a Brainstorm. 2 pretty powerful cards. Okay. Take a draw. We're at 12. Lion's Eye Diamond. Not the worst. So it might seem like it's not great, but the thing is, now my construct token will be a 2/2, which means that it lives if it goes into combat with 1. We're passing the turn. Billy, I think, was thinking about dazing the Lion's Eye Diamond to shut me off of a Saga, or a construct token. Attacks for 3 will go to 9. On the end step, we'll fetch. Might as well grab another copy of Bayou. And let's make a construct. Draw for turn. Dark Ritual. That was a very good hit. And we can make another construct here. Grab a Mox Opal. Player land. And let's get in there for 4. I am the pain. So they're at 10. They're pretty close to being dead to my Tendrils of Agony. They go to 9 life now. They attack for 3. I will go to 5 life. Okay. Bobble. I believe I'm going to attack out. They block with 1. I could have played the Bobble pre-combat. That probably would have been a good idea. But our storm count doesn't really matter that much. Play a Dark Ritual. Veil of Summer. And Billy casts Force of Will, exiling Daze on the Veil, which is absolutely fine with me. And now we can just cast the Tendrils. Storm 5. So this was a game that it did not look like we were in a great spot. And then we just ground our way back in using Urza's Saga and mini Tendrils after Construct tokens did most of the damage. So that was a pretty good game for us. Now we're going into the post board. We definitely want these Carpet of Flowers. Those cards are MVPs in this pickup. Get rid of Chrome Mox. And I don't think Cabal Ritual is that great against like the Daze Wasteland discard deck. It's fine. It's just not amazing. A lot of these decks tend to have a couple Null Rods in the sideboard, so I don't hate a couple copies of Abrupt Decay. I think Shadow Spear ends up being very good. Let's try this out. Triple Beseech the Mirror. I don't think that this one's going to be. This hand is amazing. We will keep and bottom the Mox Opal. Looted Delta to Ponder. Okay. We draw Beseech the Mirror. I believe that Carpet of Flowers is so important in this matchup that I'm going to lose my storm count for empty by playing out the Lotus Petal, just so I can play through Daze. Carpet of Flowers. And once again, Carpet of Flowers is an enchantment. You can sacrifice enchantments for the bargain cost of Beseech the Mirror. Artifact, enchantment, or token. Billy plays a Daze, I will gladly pay. Alright, pass the turn. Wasteland. We draw another Carpet. We'll fetch. Play a Bayou, or grab a Bayou. Play Carpet number 2. That resolves and we'll pass. Billy does play the Underground Sea, so now we'll go up to 3 mana here. Love that for us. Gaea's Will, not the best here. Make green and black. And this is a matchup where I think we are probably going to get 4 more turns, so I will suspend Gaea's Will. That Brainstorm. There is usually a basic swamp in these decks. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the get here. Billy does not. Another Underground Sea. Okay. Murktide Regent. So our empty for 4 or whatever isn't going to beat the 6/6 dragon. We're going to need a little bit more storm if we're going to beat that. Guys, Will loses suspend counter, and we draw Dark Ritual. That was a very good one. Okay. See what we can do here. They have 5 in hand. Dark Ritual. Cast Beseech the Mirror. Sacrificing a Carpet of Flowers. Like I mentioned, Beseech the Mirror is its own built-in combo engine. Force of Will, we will cast Veil of Summer. Into another Dark Ritual? Holy moly. Is that the game? Forms 5. I think we're short. We'll grab another Beseech the Mirror. Now we can cast it. Oh, this is just lethal with the other guy as well. We'll cast Gaea as well. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Play the Lotus Petal. And now we'll Beseech. Sacrificing the Lotus Petal. We'll grab Tendrils of Agony. Well, we had the game won 2 ways. We had Empty the Warrens too, but here we are. Alright, well that was the league. We went 4-1. Pretty sweet. Let's go take a look at the deck list. So, what did I think? Well, one, I think that I threw match number 3 by playing like a real idiot. It happens. It's past midnight. I'm tired. But not really an excuse. The real thing is you should just always play better. No excuse. That's what I honestly believe. Just like I should have played better. That's it. But we did go 4-1. The list felt really good. I loved Veil of Summer. I liked being able to suspend Gaea as well. We never actually got to do it off suspend. Beseech the Mirror was bonkers. This card was so good. And I think that Carpet of Flowers out of the sideboard really overperformed against the best decks in the format like Grixis, Delver, and Shadow. So I loved the deck list. I would run this back, no changes. Absolutely no changes whatsoever. But my one loss was my own fault. That happens. Sometimes you don't play perfectly. Live and learn. So have a great day. Keep storming, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. See ya. If you enjoyed today's video, you might also like the Eternal Glory podcast featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Bosch and Roll, Brian Cobal, Anthraben U, Phil Gallagher, as we discuss legacy concepts, theories, strategies, and so much more. We're available on all major podcast platforms, as well as YouTube. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.